China is working at odds, as we've mentioned, working at odds with the U.S. on trade still, but also in terms of espionage issues. And Jack Posobiec sat down with the founder of Point Bridge Capital to learn more.
Interesting topic lately we've seen over the past few months, Chinese espionage. We've seen agents of the Chinese intelligence community, sort of their intelligence forces, that have been arrested not only in the U.S., in the financial sector, but also we're seeing stuff on colleges, we're seeing stuff from our own intelligence community, people who have been working with the Chinese. What is going on here and what is driving all of this?
Well, what people need to understand is that China is a political and military adversary of the United States. I mean, so that's very clear. In fact, last year, a senior CIA official said we're in a Cold War with China. So that's what's going on. We're actually in a Cold War with China, and I don't think a lot of people in the United States realize that. Well, I mean, it's all about power, and that's where they're headed. They want to be the superpower. They have 100,000 people right now in China, on mainland China. Their whole goal is cyber theft. That's what they do around the globe, is to steal cyber theft. In fact, the New York Times just reported they stole from the NSA, our NSA, some very important cyber technology that they're now using and weaponizing against other countries right now.
Explain to me what's going on with the Chinese students that are coming in through the United States. And certainly we don't mean this is all Chinese people are involved in this,
right,
but it's a program that the Chinese government is running through their students.
Well, they have over 360,000 Chinese nationals as students in the United States right now. So universities all across the country, and many of them are here to learn the technologies that they then want to take back to China and use against the United States. In fact, the Chinese passed a law in 2017 that requires their nationals, including their companies, the employees of the companies, to participate in counterespionage, and if they don't, they can go to jail.
What is President Trump doing to help alleviate this situation?
Well, they've done a couple of things. They, they've tried to limit what fields they can study in, and how long they can stay here on their visas. So they've done some of that, but the problem is it doesn't really work because you can come in on a student visa and say you're going to study, English, and then change your major to artificial intelligence, and there's no way to track it. They're not tracking it.
What steps could the U.S. government take to combat this threat?
Well, we're in trade negotiations right now, and I think as part of those trade negotiations, they ought to bring up the student visas. And they ought to say, look, if as part of this deal, if you violate these trade negotiations, once they're agreed to, if you violate them, we're going to pull your student visas. We're not going to let you back into the United States and move them back.
Do you think that the president, and sort of talking on a macro level, that he and his advisors really understand the threat of Chinese counterespionage, Chinese commercial financial warfare against the United States? I
do think they do understand that. I mean, I've talked to some of them. They do get it. I mean, Huawei is a company that they've gone after, and they should. I mean, it's a communications company, for people that don't know. Huawei is a major communications company. And what the Chinese have effectively done in this field is all the equipment in the backbone of the G5, the 5G, the next technology of communications, is Chinese. And what they can do with that is espionage. They can tap into basically any phone calls that they want to tap into, and there's really no way to stop it.
Hal Lambert, I want to thank you so much for being on with us on American News. We'll have you back on as more of these developments break and as the Cold War continues.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One American News on YouTube. And call your cable provider and kindly demand that One American News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.